The golden sun peeked over the horizon, casting warm rays across the vast forest. A thin mist floated between the tall trees, making the woods look like a dream. Birds chirped from their nests, and a gentle breeze rustled the leaves. The scent of fresh earth, pine, and blooming flowers filled the morning air. On a moss-covered rock near a bubbling brook, Oliver the gnome stretched his tiny arms wide. His red hat tilted slightly as he looked around, taking in the peaceful beauty of the early morning. His heart filled with excitement. Today was a day for adventure. Deeper in the forest, heavy yet gentle footsteps echoed through the trees. Babar, the wise and mighty elephant, moved gracefully along a winding dirt path. His large ears flapped slightly in the cool morning air, and his golden tusks gleamed in the sunlight. A garland of fresh flowers and leaves rested on his back, swaying as he walked. Oliver spotted Babar from afar, standing tall among the trees. The elephant's eyes twinkled with excitement as he looked around the forest. Something big was happening, and soon, the entire woodland would be buzzing with preparations. In a wide clearing beneath a massive ancient oak tree, animals of all kinds gathered. Squirrels perched on low branches, rabbits sat on soft patches of grass, and foxes curled their tails neatly as they listened. A wise old owl watched from above, blinking slowly. A large flat tree stump stood at the center of the clearing, where Oliver and Babar stood together. The air buzzed with excitement as the festival plans took shape. Decorations, music, and a feast would make this gathering the grandest ever. Every animal had a task, and the forest would soon transform into a place of wonder and celebration. Oliver led a group of gnomes through the thickest part of the forest, where vines twisted around old trees and mushrooms glowed faintly in the shade. They were searching for a hidden treasure, ancient lanterns crafted by gnomes long ago, known to shimmer like tiny stars. After a long search, one gnome pointed toward a tree with roots curled like protective arms around a small wooden chest. Oliver brushed away the moss covering the chest and carefully lifted the lid. Inside, golden lanterns sparkled, their glow untouched by time. The gnomes carefully carried them back, eager to decorate the festival grounds. Meanwhile, Babar and a group of foxes and rabbits worked tirelessly to gather food. They carefully picked the ripest berries, collected golden honey from friendly bees, and gathered nuts from the tallest trees. Birds fluttered overhead, carrying tiny baskets filled with juicy fruits. Babar used his trunk to lift a large pile of bananas, mangoes, and wild melons onto his back. He moved steadily through the forest, ensuring every treat was safely transported. The woodland creatures worked in harmony, filling woven baskets with nature's finest harvest. Gnomes climbed trees, weaving vines between branches and hanging the golden lanterns they had found. Squirrels scurried up and down, tying colorful ribbons and tiny bells that jingled in the breeze. Brightly woven banners made of leaves and petals fluttered in the air, creating a festive atmosphere. Oliver stood back, admiring the transformation. The once quiet clearing had become a place of wonder, with lights, colors, and the scent of fresh flowers filling the air. The grand festival was beginning to take shape. As the festival preparations continued, the birds of the forest gathered on high branches, practicing their melodies. The nightingales, robins, and blue jays sang in harmony, their songs echoing through the trees. Crickets chirped a soft rhythm, and a group of frogs near a shimmering pond added a deep, croaking bass. Oliver watched as a group of gnomes carved wooden flutes and tiny drums. They tested their instruments, filling the air with cheerful notes. Babar tapped his foot to the rhythm, his large ears twitching with the beat. The forest was alive with music, ready for the grand celebration. Oliver and a group of gnomes set off through the forest, carrying tiny parchment scrolls tied with golden strings. These invitations were for every creature near and far, inviting them to the grand festival. Squirrels scurried through tree branches, dropping invitations at the doorsteps of burrows. Birds soared high, delivering scrolls to hidden nests. Even the river fish received invitations, with messages tied to floating leaves that drifted downstream. The entire forest was buzzing with excitement as word of the festival spread. As night began to fall, the gnomes prepared a special surprise. Oliver led them to a hidden glade where thousands of fireflies rested among the tall grasses. With a gentle wave of his hand, the fireflies stirred, their tiny bodies lighting up like stars. Slowly, the glowing insects followed Oliver back to the festival clearing. They swirled through the trees, creating a twinkling canopy of golden lights. The entire forest shimmered under their glow, adding a touch of magic to the celebration. The long-awaited moment had arrived. The festival clearing sparkled with golden lanterns, glowing fireflies, and colorful decorations. Babar stood at the entrance, welcoming guests as animals from all corners of the forest arrived. Bears, deer, owls, and even a family of hedgehogs. The air was filled with the scent of fresh fruit and honey, and joyful laughter echoed through the trees. Gnomes played lively tunes on their flutes, and the birds began their grand performance. The festival had begun, and the forest was alive with celebration. As the music played, the animals began to dance. Rabbits hopped in circles, foxes twirled with fluffy tails sweeping the ground, and even the wise old owl flapped its wings to the rhythm. Oliver and the gnomes spun in a cheerful dance, their tiny boots tapping against the soft earth. Babar, with his mighty presence, swayed gently from side to side, lifting his trunk in delight. The forest floor trembled slightly with each step, but the laughter and joy continued. The night was filled with movement, music, and merriment. Long wooden tables made of fallen logs were set with bowls of ripe berries, golden honey, fresh nuts, and juicy fruits. Fireflies hovered above, casting a warm light over the feast. The animals gathered around, eager to taste the delicious offerings of the forest. Babar used his trunk to carefully serve fruit to the smaller creatures, while the birds pecked at juicy grapes. Oliver enjoyed a slice of honeycomb, savoring its sweetness. The entire festival ground was filled with contentment as friends shared food and stories. As midnight approached, the festival guests turned their eyes to the sky. The night was clear, and thousands of stars twinkled like diamonds. Babar raised his trunk, releasing a deep, joyful sound that echoed through the trees. Above, a group of owls carried tiny lanterns high into the air, creating a trail of golden lights. The stars and lanterns together made the sky look like a painting of magic and wonder. The festival had reached its peak, and the beauty of the night left everyone in awe. As the festival slowly came to an end, the guests gathered around a large glowing lantern in the center of the clearing. Oliver, standing beside Babar, placed a single golden leaf into the lantern's flame. The leaf shimmered and released a warm, comforting glow. One by one, the animals added their own leaves, filling the lantern with the love and warmth of the night. The festival had brought the entire forest together, creating memories that would last forever. As the festival neared its end, a gentle breeze swept through the trees, carrying the whispers of the night. The leaves rustled like soft music, and the lanterns swayed gently, their golden glow flickering in the wind. It was as if the forest itself was thanking everyone for coming together in harmony. Oliver stood beside Babar, watching the fireflies dance in the air. The elephant's large ears flapped gently as he listened to the sounds of the night, the chirping crickets, the distant hoots of owls, and the quiet murmur of the river flowing beyond the trees. It was a moment of peace, where nature and celebration blended perfectly. Some of the younger animals, tired from all the dancing and excitement, curled up near the warm embers of the festival fire. A family of rabbits nestled together under a large leaf, while a tiny hedgehog yawned and tucked itself into a bed of moss. Even the fireflies slowed their flight, resting on tree branches like tiny stars resting in the sky. Oliver stretched his arms and breathed in the crisp night air. He felt proud that the festival had brought so much happiness to the forest. Babar lowered his trunk and let out a soft sigh of contentment, his eyes twinkling under the starlight. The celebration had been a success, and now the forest could rest in peace. Near the edge of the festival clearing, a quiet river shimmered under the moonlight. The surface of the water reflected the glowing lanterns, making it look like another sky filled with floating golden stars. Babar and Oliver walked to the riverbank, taking in the beauty of the reflection. The river was a sacred place in the forest, carrying the wisdom of old trees and the songs of hidden creatures. Its gentle current told stories of past festivals and the friendships that had blossomed over time. As Oliver knelt beside the water, he placed a single golden leaf onto the surface. The leaf floated gently, spinning in slow circles before drifting away with the current. Babar dipped his trunk into the cool water and sprayed a light mist into the air. The droplets sparkled like tiny crystals before falling back into the river. The moment was peaceful, a final gesture of gratitude to nature for allowing the festival to flourish. The other animals soon joined them, watching the glowing reflections and adding their own leaves to the water. Each leaf carried a wish, a memory, or a thank you to the forest for another wonderful gathering. The river accepted them all, carrying their dreams far beyond the trees, where new adventures waited. As the festival neared its closing, the wise old owl, perched high on an ancient oak, let out a long, deep call. It was a signal that the night had been honored, and the time had come for the final gift of the celebration. Oliver stepped forward, holding a small wooden chest carved with intricate patterns of vines and stars. Inside, nestled within soft moss, was a single glowing acorn, a rare and magical treasure gifted by the heart of the forest. With great care, Oliver carried the acorn to the center of the clearing and placed it into the soil. Babar, using his strong trunk, scooped a gentle mound of earth over it, securing it into the ground. The animals formed a circle around them, watching in awe as a faint golden glow pulsed from beneath the soil. Suddenly, tiny green shoots sprouted, twisting and stretching toward the sky. In mere moments, a young sapling emerged, its leaves shimmering under the firefly lights. This was the festival's final gift, a new tree to mark the night's celebration, a symbol of friendship and unity that would grow for generations to come. The forest creatures cheered, their voices blending with the wind as the tree stood tall, its branches swaying gently. This was the magic of the festival, the gift of life, renewal, and the promise of future gatherings. The time had come for the festival guests to return to their homes. The forest, once filled with music and dancing, now echoed with warm goodbyes and laughter. Babar led a procession through the trees, guiding the visitors back along the winding paths. Fireflies hovered above, lighting the way like tiny lanterns. The gnomes carried their instruments, playing a soft farewell tune as they walked. Birds flitted from branch to branch, singing gentle melodies to send their friends on their way. Oliver waved to the departing guests, his heart full of happiness. The festival had brought everyone together, strengthening their bonds and filling the forest with joy. Though the night had ended, its magic would remain, waiting to return with the next celebration. As the first rays of dawn stretched across the sky, the forest awoke to a new day. The festival clearing, once alive with music and laughter, was now quiet, bathed in golden morning light. The decorations still swayed gently in the breeze, and the newly planted tree stood proudly in the center, its leaves glistening with morning dew. Oliver and Babar stood side by side, taking in the beauty of the quiet forest. Though the festival had ended, its spirit remained in every rustling leaf and every chirping bird. The forest would remember this night forever, and so would they. With a deep, contented breath, Babar turned toward the trees, ready for his next journey. Oliver smiled, knowing that the next festival would come again, bringing new stories, new friendships, and new adventures. As Oliver watched Babar disappear into the trees, he felt a sense of excitement for what lay ahead. The forest was always full of surprises, and there would always be more festivals, more friendships, and more adventures waiting just beyond the next hill. With one last glance at the glowing tree, Oliver turned toward his home, ready for the new stories the future would bring.